Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Bitcoin market review for October the 7th, 2022. And yesterday we had quite some volatile price action, and this was due to the high impact news we had yesterday, which were the non-farm payrolls at 8:30 a.m. together with the unemployment rate and the average hourly earnings, sorry. So 3 high impact news events at 8:30 a.m. and we can see we had some volatile candles right here. I mean, if we look at the, let's check out the 3-minute. So prior to the news, we had price first going up above these highs, above the morning highs and the late evening highs yesterday. Then price pushed already down, broke this low right here, then price pushed back up, and then eventually on the news event on 8:30 a.m. price crashed down and then continued to go down lower throughout the morning, all the way to, like 9 a.m. Then it consolidated all the way to lunch, and then during lunch it dropped down once more. And before I get into the setups, I just want to show you why price dropped down. Like it dropped into an area where it makes sense. If we pull up the daily chart, let's do it like this, we can see Thursday we had this down candle, like we ran above this candle and then started to go down. So when we have a swing high here, we think, okay, price is now going down. This is the confirmation candle on Thursday, so for Friday we expect lower prices. Now on the daily candle, you could have just looked at that and you've immediately would have seen, okay, there's a fair value gap here on the daily, which it probably is going to attack, and that was the target for yesterday's price action. So it wanted to get to that fair value gap down here. And if we now go back to a lower time frame, let's get to the hourly, we also can see price crashed down first below this low, quite a significant low, where a fair value gap or an imbalance was still here. So that was the 8:30 candle right here. Then price consolidated a bit, and then eventually went into, it touched the fair value gap right here, but then eventually fully filled it. And as you can see, the bodies of these candles respect the fair value gap. Let's see if it also works. In the 4 hourly it also works. It only dips into it, only wicks through it, and only dips with the bodies into it to not even the halfway point, and now consolidates there. Okay, now let's jump back to the 15-minute chart. And actually I'm going to remove this fair value gap right here. So there was a high impact news event at 8:30, as I've already mentioned, and this led price to, it took quite a while for it to settle. So there are only setups prior to the news event. I've only seen good setups prior to the news event. Like after the news event, price was a little bit out of touch, was a little bit weird, and it took some time to settle. So I'm gonna state it already, I have not found any good setups in this area after the 8:30 news event. But nevertheless, I found some setups prior to that, so in the morning. With the first setup being on the 1 minute, and it's early morning. Like really early morning. But what they have here, after the open, price pushes up, comes back down, pushes up once more, breaks this high, and then breaks lower, leading to a market structure break right here. This market structure break left behind quite a nice fair value gap. And if we draw out the Fib tool now, we can see price pushes back up into the fair value gap, pushes into a premium, only with the wick of this candle, as you can see, this candle right here only wicks into the premium, and then price consolidates a bit and then eventually drops lower. Why I like this setup is we took out this low and these lows over here, but we have not yet taken these lows right here. And we can expect quite a lot of liquidity below them, so we expect price to run these. So that's why this is a good setup. Breaks down, not yet breaking these lows right here, pushes back up and then eventually drops down below this and takes the liquidity from these lows. So that was the first setup, and then there was another setup not too long after. We just looked at the setup right here. So this down candle with this up move, that was the setup we just looked at. And if we go to the 15 minute, we can see this is one big down move on the 15 minute. Like the first two candles of the day are up candles, and then we have big down candles. If we now take out the fib tool from this, put it up, we see there is also a fair value gap right here in the middle on the 15 minute. And on the 15 minute, price first crashes down below these lows, leading to a market structure shift. It has not yet attacked these lows right here. Then it pushes back up through the fair value gap into a premium, and then eventually a big down candle at 2:15 a.m., like after 2 a.m. As we've seen, 2 to 3 a.m. is quite a good time for Bitcoin, or quite a liquid time. And then eventually it takes out these lows right here. So nice setup on the 15 minute. And for confirmation, we can drop down to the 5 minute and we can see price fills this fair value gap right here, takes this high out with quite a doji looking candle, and then eventually it breaks down. So a very nice setup. And from this break lower, we then have price starting an uptrend. Like here you can see price really reprices higher to take out this high and a couple of these highs over here. And in this repricing upwards, we have a couple of setups. With the first setup being on the 1 minute. I mean, as you can see, price drops back down, consolidates for a bit, and then eventually breaks out right here. So this up move. But this is not yet a trade. But from this point onwards, we can expect higher prices. So we have an uptrend. Like we have a market structure break right here. And then price continues further up, breaking this high again right here. So the uptrend is still in order. And if we now pull out first the fib tool from the low to a high. Further, I want to denote that there is a fair value gap right here. Quite lovely. Which price dips into here, then continues high, but eventually breaks down lower into it again because it has not yet filled it fully. Fills the fair value gap fully, touches this down close candle. As you can see, it touches it once. Actually, does it yet? Once, twice, 3, 4 times. It touches it 4 times, but doesn't go through it, and then price shoots off higher or moves up higher. So that's the first setup right here. And immediately after that, there is a setup that follows from this low to these equal highs right here. And as you can see, there's not really a setup on the 1 minute, but if we go higher to the 5 minute, we can see it's quite a nice setup. Because on the 5 minute, we have a nice fair value gap right here. We can see from this low to this high, price then comes back down, touches this fair value gap, and then eventually breaks through this fair value gap into a discount, touches this down close candle, which is the order block, just touches it, doesn't go through it, and then eventually it shoots off into the distance, taking up this high. And why we also like this is, I mean, on the 3-minute you can see it. It's good enough on the 3-minute. You can see we have one high, two highs, equal highs. And once this high forms, price is probably going to take that out, because ICT has mentioned that price likes to take out or attack equal highs or equal lows. And here we have equal highs, and then we can see price pushes through them, attacks this fair value gap, and then eventually this high with the fair value gap, this high, and attacks these highs over here. So yeah, quite nice setups. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's all the setups that I found. As I said, I've only found setups prior to the 8:30 news event, as price then took a while to settle and it was not very clean price action. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you did not get caught up into, or like in the high impact news event. It can be very volatile and very harsh, but yeah, as I said, keep an eye on the economic calendar, and especially keep an eye on non-farm payroll high impact news events. They can mess with price heavily. And yeah, that's all from my side. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the setups. I hope you learned something. And yeah, I hope you're safe. I hope I see you again. And yeah, have a nice day. Bye.